This is Project 2 Scientist Bio over James Watt and Henry Ford. James Watt was a very talented Scottish inventor, a mechanical engineer, and also a chemist, credited for creating a steam engine, and several other things. Born in Greenock, Scotland, on January 18th, 1736, Watt had derived from a very successful family. His grandfather taught mathematics and his dad was a well-known carpenter. His many inventions influenced aspects of today's world many different ways. Watt was very well educated, but his speaking skills were severely lacking. Watt's mother's name was Agnes Muirhead, which was a very well educated woman. Through school, James excelled in his classes. His health was often poor, and his classes often took place at his home. At only 18 years old, Watt's mother fatally passed away, which leads Watt's family into a large financial unstable situation. Watt gave up his plans to attend university, but on the other hand, in London he decided to train himself as a scientific instrument maker. Within a few months, his skills were even higher than that of those who had been previously training for a few years. Many people had been commending him on this. After this, he found work at Glasgow University regarding the same field he was already practicing, and his work was so great at the university. The professors insisted on keeping him there. He overcame his poor language skills and health issues, and many began to see how intelligent James Watt is. In 1759, at only 23 years old, James Watt became very interested in the idea of steam engines. His interest was sparked by that of another professor mentioning the concept of a steam-driven car. At 27, Watt came into contact with a working steam engine which was operated by one of the professors at the university. It needed to be repaired as well. Watt accepted that challenge, but was confused by how little power it produced. At this time, these engines were being used all over Britain, and no one found a way to improve them. They were working on a principle that a piston and a cylinder was driven in one direction by a jet of steam that heated air in the cylinder, expanding it. Cold water was then injected in place of the steam to cool the air in the cylinder, creating a partial vacuum which pulled the piston back in the other direction. Ready for the cycle with the injection of hot steam. Watt thought he could make a better engine after 2 years of working constantly. It came to him. He linked the engine cylinders to a vessel at low pressure steam and would not condense, therefore not cooling the engine. By the end of 1765, Watt, at only 29, built his first small-scale steam engine. In 1769, at age 33, Watt patented the new engine. James Watt later years. Watt was now owned one of the most important patents in history. He sold it to John Roebuck, whose factory went bankrupt. In 1775, he celebrated his 39th birthday and began a partnership with Fulton. 11 years later, after he built his first engine, they began to be used to pump water out of mines. As the years passed, they found there were many more applications of use. In 1800, at age 64, Watt retired. His patent expired, and they passed the reins on to their son. Watt continued his research through his retirement. Watt passed away at 83 years old in 1819. James Watt inventions, accreditations, and summary. Improved the steam engine, starting the Industrial Revolution. Continued to produce a stream of new ideas and inventions, which eventually resulting in an engine requiring 80% less fuel than earlier engines. Invented high-pressure steam engines capable of higher efficiencies, but the technology at the time was not capable of operating them safely. Introduced the word horsepower to describe an engine power output. First person proposed that water is made of hydrogen combined with oxygen. Alone discovered the scientific concept of latent heat. Invented the world's first copying machine similar to a photocopier. Very important figure then and still now. Without some of his creations discoveries, the world would be nowhere near as advanced. Alright. Next is Henry Ford introduction. Famous industrialist who revolutionized the automobile industry. Born in 1863 on a rural farm in Detroit, Michigan, first surviving son of William and Mary Ford, left home to start working. Made the world's first moving assembly line, one of the most popular figures in history, known as Ford Motor Company today. Henry Ford early years. Henry Ford was born in 1863 and was the first surviving son of William and Mary Ford, who owned a farm in Dearborn, Michigan. At 16 years old, he left home for Detroit, where he was an apprentice machinist. He returned to Dearborn and worked on his family farm after 3 years. but to continue to service steam engines and work stints in factories. In 1888, he married Clara Bryan, who grew up on a nearby farm. In 1891, he came back to Detroit with Clara. He was soon hired by a company as an engineer. In 1896, after much work, he came up with the quadricycle and wanted to improve it though. He received backing from Detroit Automobile Company. In 1902, he left and went on to Ford Motor Company. Henry Ford later years.
Yeah. Well, I know, you know, damn things forever.
A month after Ford Motor Company was established, the first Ford car, the Model A, was assembled in Detroit. Only a few cars were made per day, and they wanted to refine the Model A, and in 1908 came the first Model T. In 1914, Ford increased wages, made it much higher than the standard for its workers. In 1927, he moved to a larger complex in Dearborn. In 1932, Ford was struggling in sales along with competition and political issues. 1947, Henry Ford died at age 83. Henry Ford, accreditations, inventions, and summary. Model T, Ford Motor Companies, which is what is known as today. Assembly line, the horseless carriage. Henry Ford still affects our society today with his inventions. Without the modernized assembly line today, we would not have the recent needs of production, and also the million Ford vehicles that are still on the road today. Thank you for viewing. I hope this has some valuable information was provided on these important figures of history. Thank you for listening, and have a fantastic day. Did you end it already?